Excuse me as we set up. Let's set up. I hope y'all had a good weekend. We get some energy. Gym day makes you tired. And if y'all hear that noise, for some reason, somebody got a sensitive car and it makes alarm noises. We'll never know, right? So, universities cry about budget cuts, but the presidents are making millions. I just want to know if it makes sense. Now, I get that. They like, don't say it, Henry, but I gotta say it. I gotta say it. They cry about the budget cuts, but the presidents make millions at these universities. Let me make sure y'all can hear me real quick. That noise is loud. Now, that don't make no sense. Okay. Hopefully, y'all don't keep hearing that, the whole live screen. But yeah, university presidents make so much money. And we want to discuss potentially. I know why they make the money. This cup in my hand ain't gonna work. It's energy drink, guys. It's energy drink. And I spilled it on myself. Y'all probably like, this man here. I know, man. I know. I done wasted on my pajamas. All right. Once again, everybody, we wonder, right? I understand how the university presidents make their money. They pretty much, in a nice and smoothly way, convey these stakeholders, hey, you should invest in our college because our college is blah, 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 plans on doing blah, 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 and we need your funds to do it. I read some articles in school about, before I do the disclaimer, I read some articles in school about colleges or universities, whichever you want to use, right? They shouldn't be so reliant on state funds or stakeholder funds, I guess. Not the whole gist of it, but colleges do rely a lot on state funds, federal funds, right? To a point where we really never get to see the outlines. We never get to see the numbers to see and check for ourselves, right? But before I keep going, because I will go and I will forget to say this disclaimer, and that would not be good for us. I like the cup. It doesn't give nobody free advertisement, and my screen is pretty bright, as you can see. Disclaimer. The videos presented here are for informational purposes only, and therefore, if you are to choose to attend the institution, please do your own research and consult with a specialist at the institution you are interested in. I am not a financial aid specialist, academic advisor, or representing any institution. Speaking on behalf of Creator, Henry is only speaking from his experience, okay? I'm speaking from my experience. I'm speaking from my education. I'm speaking from the articles that I read that they don't want me to say. What? So, per Chronicles Higher Education, as you know, that's where we gonna go and get our information. They always dropping gems. They always dropping information. So, that's not what I'm looking for. Marshall University. First and foremost, Marshall University. Marshall University president gives $50 million to the school. It says right here, Brad D. Smith, that's his name, and his wife said the donation is intended to allow. Missed it again. All student. It says Brad D. Smith and his wife said the donation is intended to allow all students to graduate without debt They say that Brad D. Smith and his wife say the donation is intended to. I'm reading the wrong one. I do want to cover that though. I do want to cover that. I'm reading the wrong one. That's gonna be an interesting one. I probably should have talked about that one, but it's not that one. It's this one. It pays to be at the top per Chronicle Higher Education. It says, I want to says Rhino. It's not Rhino. That name is pronounced very different. Hold on right quick. I want to pronounce this college. It's the college president of, I think they say University of Houston. University of Houston, yeah. That's the president of the University of Houston. One thing about me, I'm going to pronounce something. Wow, guys. You never want to... Who?
Renu.
Nah, that can't be it. Renu. I'm gonna say Renu. They saying Renu. So I said Renu. I'm gonna say Renu. So Renu Cater of the University of Houston, led all public college presidents with 3.1 million. Guys, when I get the completely set up, I'm gonna show you these people because I'll be looking them up like, yo, who are these people? I think it's a good question. Renu Cantor, if I say her name right, she's the University of Houston president. And so, cool. They said she is the 8th chancellor of the University of Houston system and the 13th president of the University of Houston. She been plugged in. I wouldn't be surprised if she's 70. She probably won't make no push for political office. She already been political, but I guess making that extra push because she been in the game for a minute. So, as we keep going, they said she led all public college presidents, pretty much university presidents, with $3.1 million in compensation in 2024. So she led the way, making $3.1 million in compensation. It says at the top in the prior year's list with $1.9 million. So Houston is paying her really well. University of Houston. And so then it says, but this was a rare year when a boom. Now, I think they meant to say boom, but they said, but this was a rare year when a boon, B-O-O-N, not boom, B-O-O-N, for the top earner isn't the top story. So this is why I come here. A president making $3.1 million in compensation is wild to me. I think a lot of people don't understand how much a college president, a university president makes. I don't think it's important to people, really. I think some people be like, how does this affect me going to college, Henry? What does this have to do with college, Henry? Okay. I am a macro person a little bit. I'm starting to realize that. I'm a little macro-ish a little bit. Looking at some macro things and being like, I don't think that's really good to be like that. I think it's going to have some effects later. Good for the individual, but not good for everybody. Long term, at least. So, students, you might can take the back seat on this one. My staff people, because, I want to get professionals in here as well. So, get these professionals in here with their burner accounts and stuff, right? And so, this is more like for the higher ed professionals. You heard that? That's like for the higher ed professionals. This is like higher professionals, faculty, staff, Anybody in there, right? And students and families. It's gonna come to y'all too. Don't worry. I'm gonna show you how it's gonna come to you. Anytime you got a president making that much money, it's in anything really, but in this case, higher education making that much money, I don't know if it's good for the school because the school can be paying the president through different entities like endowment, donor money, all these other type of money holes they have, these money funds they have. Let me say that. So this could be okay, but in most cases, it's kind of not okay because I can assure you that their academic advisors, their student affairs, their business, well, that's part of staffing and stuff. Their faculty is probably getting paid pretty good. I don't know. I feel like someone's not being paid well there. I feel like some departments are not being paid well. I feel like some departments don't have enough reinforcement for the amount of students they have. Because University of Houston is a huge school. Obviously, it's in Texas, and Texas is a really big state. So, normally when you don't have enough reinforcement or paying the proper people, like your staff, your faculty, you're not paying them right, it has an effect on student enrollment, student retention rate, enrollment retention rates, and then it could possibly drive up your prices. But besides your prices, students, it can make the school lose really good faculty, staff. So a lot of times in higher education, the way it's being perceived is that people who are not as important, like the president or top levels, they feel like everybody who's like at the bottom, I guess, are expendable. That's how it rubs off a little bit. From experience. I think they treat the people who are not at the top, the people who are not at the top, they treat them as expendable. Just like corporate, right? And then they realize like when you get rid of your original people, the people who are helping this president make all this money, making sure the students are being enrolled, make sure they're taking the proper classes, making sure the faculty is making sure the curriculum stays tight and right and perfected, you're gonna have problems. And it says right here that more presidents of public universities saw their pay change a little last year. According to the Chronicles, pretty much their annual articles, I guess, base salaries were relatively steady. Relatively steady, and total pay ticked up just a bit. Top earners, with the exception, this year's highest earning presidents made 38% more than last year, as bonuses more than double. See, the problem with that is, I'm kind of speaking on behalf. See what I did there? I'm speaking on behalf right now for the staff members who don't make millions of dollars. First and foremost, once again, who thought higher education professionals don't make that grip? These presidents make a grip. These execs to the president make a grip. And it doesn't get no attention because I guess people are just like, that's why we don't go to college. That's why we don't care. And I'm like, you should care though, man. Like, these presidents are making millions. Their pay is increased. They said this year's highest earning presidents got a 38% increase. People in higher education who work for the state like me, you don't even, they don't get no increases like that. At least I can't speak for everybody, at least in Georgia. But they don't get increases like that. And then it forces the institution, then we're losing. It's just like K through 12 a little bit. Me and K through 12 and higher ed, we can coexist a little bit together because it's kind of the same thing. Like, the people at the top make all the money and the people at the bottom don't make anything. It sounds familiar, right? It sounds really familiar. And as a student, I guess this won't be direct impact towards you, for my students out there, but it's definitely something that will hit you and you would feel it, but you probably wouldn't know that you're feeling it. Like your curriculum, you probably think you're still getting the top notch curriculum, but you're not. You think that you might wonder why if you're working with an advisor, you're working with, people directly, like tutors and stuff. Think about the people who work with you directly. If they are not really paying you that much attention, showing you that one-on-one time. I know some people complain a lot about universities. They're like, man, it's hard to get in contact with people. It's like they don't care. They don't get paid enough to care about you, personally. They don't get paid enough. They don't care. They don't. That's why it's really good for you to know, like, when you started a 2-year college. That's why it's important to know why your 2-year college is so important. One-on-one support. See, I'm selling right now. See that? I'm selling right now. You get the one-on-one support. You get all these resources. Like, you have a better chance at getting your name in front of somebody in your community versus someone who's not. So prime example would be like somebody could be at a university, you could be at a 2-year. Because both colleges usually like at a 2-year, if I'm being honest, both of y'all can meet the mayor, for example, right? Or a high-ranking person that's in the same city. And because you're at a 2-year, where many people at 2-year don't really like, this is like I think it's called like cosmopolitan, and then you got locals. Most people at 2-year colleges are like locals, and they don't really care about outside things, only what is in the institution. So you can have like the mayor, some high profile names come to the institution, they're gonna be like, I don't really care, I'm ready to go home, and that's it. Where you got people at the bigger schools who are looking for these people. They're looking for these people. Those are like your more universities have like these cosmopolitans. And these cosmopolitans, if I'm saying it right, are very like global thinking. Where your locals, well, it sounds like local. They only care about what's at the institution. Local. They're thinking local, what's in the city. And so, or that they're thinking specifically this institution. That's it. So your chances, if you got majority of the locals or the people at your 2-year not paying attention to big names coming to the institution, that gives you a huge advantage to meet like the mayor, somebody who's over this or that, who could pull strings and make this happen. That gives you a huge advantage. Even then, when you transfer to your university, they're gonna be looking at you like, how do you know this person? How you know this person? How you know that person? How you know this person? How you know that person? And it's like, I met them at my 2-year college, and this person, colleagues are colleagues, and people just look at you like, something about people. When you tell people you started 2-year, bridge to a 4-year, and it worked flawlessly, effortlessly, when it worked smoothly and effortlessly, we gotta work on that word. I cannot say that word fluently, but when you do it effortlessly and smoothly, and go to a 4-year, people have nothing to say. I think I say this all the time. People think it's luck when you started a 2-year, bridge to a 4-year, and then you graduate with nothing. Like, when I say nothing, you graduate like with 0 debt. People think it's luck. I don't get that. Then people don't care. People don't care. People want to, I don't know, man. We got a lot of work to do. People still care about these universities for the wrong reasons. Before I get back to talking about the college presidents making a lot of money, it's a reason why, like I said, that I don't really like, the education is invaluable. But the things that go on in higher education, where you see so many people who are just collecting a check at these schools, right? No real change is happening. And which is going to lead me to that president who said, like, oh, by 2030 something, this should help students, or this will help students graduate with no debt. Then you got Emory saying, oh, we're going to allocate such and such. So we're going to do, Emory saying they're going to do this so that kids could go to school for free. And it's like, what is taking you so long to do this? This is not rocket science. Like, we get it that every student can't go to school for free, at least right now in this time. Not until they come talk to speaking on behalf and they can make strides to minimizing their student loan debt. I do feel like since we've been dropping videos personally, that they've been watching these videos and they've been noticing us because we do post on LinkedIn pretty consistently, that we putting them on the spot. They're doing the right thing, not responding. That's pretty smart. But it's kind of embarrassing as an institution that you work. I guess the higher ups don't care because the leadership at these universities, for example, I know they probably don't care because they barely work really. They spend their days talking and eating and bellying up them stomachs. So those presidents don't really care, or execs, presidents at these universities, they don't really care. But it's kind of embarrassing that they work 365 days out the year. You know, you include holidays, but they can't figure out strategies to help kids save money in college. Like, I'm not even saying nothing crazy like make everybody go to school free. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying, like, literally when I look at articles, like I was reading something recently, like there needs to be more transfer pathways. But you have institutional barriers, like the college barriers. The colleges are not working with other colleges. And I'm like, what are they doing every day? Then you have this other part of it where they're bringing in their homeboy or homegirl who don't know a lick about higher education. Kind of what's going on over there in the health field right now. How they have RFK Jr., right? And he's not really the most, you know? And so it's always been going on in higher education, apparently. And then everybody just mute. And then we got another problem in higher education. People don't know how to really work with the money they have, which is another problem. So that makes them what? They can't really spark up nothing and say something about what's going on, like make change, because you know they don't really, at least from the ones I talk to, and the ones who do, they just don't care. And so it's just a lot of like, I guess people are just jaded, as my boy G would say. People are just jaded, tired. They're like, it's not gonna change. It's been like this for a long time. So they're like pessimistic. And so then I was a little pessimistic at first. And then I said it's 2025. Or at that time I was like, bro, it's 2020. Got it. Did I get it? Nope. You got away that time. But fruit fly, whatever that fruit fly, whatever we call it. That was back in like 2019, 2020, 2021, whatever. I was like in my 2 year. People are just pessimistic. They're just pessimistic. And so I was like, bro, you can just go on YouTube and talk about this information. But then you notice it don't get views. People don't care right now. But then you think about it, like people didn't care about the stock market. Now look at it. Everybody gets a lot of views on YouTube. It's so many things that didn't get views at first, but people just didn't stay consistent. You know, people thought, like, I knew going in doing this wasn't going to be the most thrilling listening to this. I really do feel like it's better in the moment. It's kind of like baseball. Like, you watch it, it's like, but it's like when you're in it, engaging with it, it's exciting. Like, oh, it's thrills, right? So, but I like things I can't see in the future, if that makes sense. If I could see the future or something where I'm like, yeah, in 10 years, this is going to be how it's going to be, then I don't really want to deal with it. I don't know. I'm wired that way. When I'm unsure of something and I'm like, okay, the future look very optimistic. That's the word, but I'm like, yeah, I like that. I like that. The same thing, that's why I feel and I like this. I don't know what it's gonna look like in the future, but I just know if I stop, I know exactly what it's gonna look like. But I know in the future we keep going and we keep talking about this, and then you know, people change. The kids change. They start getting more engaged with things. They try to learn more things. Especially in nowadays, they're not like today's or older people who just lay down and be down. We kind of like, you know, we're like, bro, no, if it's a way, I'm gonna learn it. And so, yeah, a little bit about that. I know it was a little rant, but so one number stands out: $2 million for E. Gordon G. That is an increase of 1.2 million for the West Virginia University president. So man, if you go look up E. Gordon G, he is an older fellow. He's a very older fellow, and he made 2 million. West Virginia University president, and he just retired now, but bow tie. He was the, if I'm not mistaken, they're saying he was an American academic administrator from 2014 to 2025. He served his second, according to Google. This is the Google overview. They said he served his second term as president of West Virginia University. His first term there was from 1981 to 1985. I wasn't even thought of. G is said to have held more university presidencies than any other American in the United States. So, and he studied at Columbia University, the University of Utah, Columbia Law School, Teachers College, I think G mentioned that, and the Columbia University again. Interesting. You know something about these millionaires, guys? They make millions. Education, people who go to college, they make millions. Ain't it funny? When they go to college, they make millions. Isn't it ironic when you really go deep? When you go do a deep dive on people who went to college, it's a lot more people who went to college and got a lot of money. They ain't probably got billions, but they got millions for sure. These schoolhouses will teach us something. Started a 2-year bridge to a 4-year. Everybody can get a college degree. Ain't no excuse. Not really. There's no excuse. That's why I love this channel, because I can talk unfilteredly. Like, these presidents making millions, bro. And we don't care. Like, I just don't get that. When people start caring, then we get interested. Like, college presidents making millions. That man increased his pay by 1.2 million. It's people out here working day to day on staff. Financial aid. Financial aid is crazy. Y'all see how financial aid be? Anybody who went to financial aid because they were trying to get their money settled, get all that handled, or the business office, those people gotta deal with all that. And then they probably ain't getting no pay increases, depending on where you at. Just go look at what these execs and these presidents make. So it says retention incentives they get bonuses. I think I mentioned that before. College presidents get bonuses. Yes. We are aware that they get these bonuses because they're begging for money in a smoothly way. Why I don't get no bonus though? You know, as a person who, you know, working higher education, caseload, I should get about 25 cents on every student I see. You know? Especially when I get a good 5-star rating. Treat it like sales a little bit. Nope. Even though we boost enrollment. Nope. Even though we help with retainability, we helping the student. The student thought about dropping out. Then we rerouted the student to stay in the school because they can do this pathway that can route them back to this pathway. But we can't get no bonus for that? I don't know, man. It's a little weird out here. Just a little weird. College president, let me say this. University presidents, they leave a sour taste in my mouth, man. And then they wonder why I don't want to walk at graduation. Why would I want to go shake hands with a president who makes millions and all these students at the graduation smiling in their face? And all of them in student loan debt. No change. Thank you, G. I knew you was in here too. I thought you was. Usually when I see that 2 or 3 up in there, it's somebody else. But I appreciate, give me my bonus, man. Give me my bonus. But you know, G, it's cool. They don't even gotta give me my bonus. I'll go get my bonus out the stock market. I ain't even gonna trip. I'll just go get the bonus out the stock market. I don't even go trip on it. But most people really need the bonus. Most people really need the bonus. It's crazy. Treat your people right. If you a college president in any sort or form or fashion, treat your people right. Like, crazy. And then my guy over here, E. Gordon G. It was something else in here. Was it something else? Invest in stocks, retire early, and they lost you. Then they lost me. Then they might paint a picture and say, oh, he didn't carry anyway. He was just about, no, it wasn't that. It was, you know. It says right here, this is what gets interesting real quick. Because we hit the 30-minute mark. So it says, plagued by financial trouble, enrollment declines, and a deficient, that's that right? A deficient that threatened to grow to $75 million by 2028. West Virginia's Board of Governors approved a plan to eliminate dozens of academic programs and lay off 143 faculty members in 2023. West Virginia University faculty voted no confidence in G, who had acquired a reputation during his lengthy career for being a big spender, and has set an ambitious goal of increasing system-wide enrollment to 40,000 by 2020. That never materialized, never happened. But the Board of Governors reiterated its support for the president and had extended his contract an extra year that summer. He didn't hit on his goal, but he still got an extension. He was known to be a big spender. Was it ethical? Guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. G, I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. You remember we was talking about government structure and stuff? Sorry about that alarm outside. That's somebody's car. But yo, I knew about this, but it's really deep of how like these presidents, this higher education thing get down. It's really deep. Like, I really need my people out there who do these conspiracies, who do these deep analysis, backgrounds on people. Hey, they need to start doing their digging. Because this, I'm going to jump to the next topic real quick. So, the president of University of Marshall, I was talking about that a little bit at the beginning on accident. The president of University of Marshall, or not University of Marshall, the president at Marshall University, Brad D. Smith, you probably heard of him, G. Brad D. Smith was the former CEO of Institute, if I say that right. He gifted $50 million. He's the university president of, he's the president of Marshall University. And he gifted $50 million. He gifted $50 million to the school. Now, where it gets interesting, imagine, okay, people might be like, okay, who's that? Whatever. Imagine Mark Cuban being a college president of a college. The guy has no background in education at all. It's like putting an NBA player, NFL player as the college president. Put Herschel Walker as your college president. Okay. Oh, okay. So you're going to go to a school and your president is pretty much a person who doesn't understand higher education. So you think you're getting a good education because of the name, but that university president, they got some pull, but you know, if they're making these executive decisions and they're not good executive decisions, yeah, you're not getting the education you thought you was getting. Like, I can't respect your college if y'all got a president there who doesn't know anything about higher education. Like, y'all are literally going in the wrong direction. Because if that president makes the ultimate decision, that president probably is going to bring in other people who don't know anything about higher education. So if the president brings in more people that don't understand higher education, they just fat in their pockets. And then you got people at the lower level. Usually this is how it goes in structure. It's different types, but this is how it goes. You got the people who actually know what's going on trying to tell you at the top, like, hey, we need to do this, we need that, we need to do this. And they like, man, we don't care. We're gonna keep finding our pockets, and then when things get bad, we're gonna jump ship. And I'm gonna go run for political office. Let's see what G said, y'all. Let's see what G said. G said, get Henry's bonus. I seen these right here. It's all, oh yeah, G said, it's all a good old boy system, no different than politics and other organizations. G said, well, I'm sure his justification is that he has a master's in leadership and management. And also, he managed a pretty big company. And like I said before, if you treat a university like a business, it makes sense. If you treat it like a business, it makes sense. And then that's when we go into like some colleges actually don't even have to be run like a business. They don't even have to be ran like a business. Some colleges like that's where we get into the perspectives. Like, what is the? Did I mute myself? Oh, that's something else. It's like that's where we get into like the colleges. What is that college known for? Essentially, most colleges are trying to take that business approach because I guess colleges ran themselves into the ground. Whatever the case is, I don't know what sparked this up. It's articles on it. I never took the time to be like, why did they start going to these CEOs to run a college? Because it just like, where my people at in the back? So G said, I agree, they don't have to, but they do because we live in a capitalistic society where education is merely a commodity being sold. Bam. I like the way you put that too. You flowed that pretty good. You said that too before. I do recall that. It is. Education. So G, that means education is highly valuable. That means education is valuable, right? If they're selling it like a commodity, right? Man, sometimes I wish education was on the stock market sometimes. I really wish higher education was on the stock market. I wish, if we're going to treat it capitalistic, why can't we put these colleges on the stock market? Let's put Georgia Tech on the stock market. Let's put Columbia on the stock market. I already got my index ready. Disclaimer, not a financial advisor. But it does relate to business somehow. G said, well, it's as valuable as grain, as I say. Soon, higher ed will be on the stock market, LOL. You think so? Well, yeah, University of Phoenix, not the actual University of Phoenix, but, I remember I said the people who own the University of Phoenix are going IPO. They are going IPO. Grand Canyon University is on the stock market. I think that's going to be the move. Exactly, that's what I was talking about. I think I got it. I think that's gonna be the move. I think that's the move because personally, higher education should be on there. They won't have to rely on the federal government as much. They won't have to rely on state as much, and then it lets us another grant. LOL. Another net. Man, I know, man. I be trying to get them, man. I can't wait till it get cold. Got the AC on too, G, and they still get in here. I don't know. I think that's a southern thing at this point now. It's crazy though. Somebody had to explain to us. But the quality of education will be trash if that actually happened. Oh really? I think the quality of education will be great. I don't know. I think it'll be. I don't know, G. I think we gotta be a little. What's that word? I think we gotta be a little lenient on this. Because. If higher education was on the stock market, that lets them get equity. That lets faculty get equity. That lets staff get equity. Then, like, hey, you don't gotta work as hard. You can buy your shares, and I don't know, man. That's a good package. Definitely, like most businesses do already How can I make the worst product possible to keep people coming back? Like most businesses do already. How can I make the worst product possible to keep people coming back? You sound like you talking about a company that I'm using a phone right now. That's what it sounds like you talking about, G. That sounds like a phone company right there. How do I make a the worst product possible to keep people coming back? But some colleges do that now. Shoot, they do it with their leadership. Cause let's be, I'm about to, subscriptions, really bad products that constantly have to be replaced, etc. He said Samsung, LOL. No, I know somebody who will fight to the end, talk about Samsung is better. I think they Samsung. I think it's Samsung. They'll say Samsung. I'm gonna just run and say Samsung. They say Samsung is way better than Apple. They be like, Samsung's better than Apple. Samsung's better than Apple. I'm like, yo, chill. I'm like, chill. They be trying to debate me. I'm like, bro, I don't own no Apple. I just own the phone. I don't own no Apple shares. I don't. I just don't think it's. I just don't. Apple just Apple. Should, but I don't. Androids tend to get better features. I just use iPhone because it's most. Yeah, me too. I'm on the iPhone 11. G. What iPhone are you on? I'm on the iPhone 11 right now. I have not. I don't think I will upgrade my iPhone until we get to 20, and we'll probably be at iPhone 20 in like a year. By the time I look back up on the iPhone 11. But when G said that, G said 12 Pro Max. I had a 10 for about 5 years before. My guy. But guys, I just really feel like it's weird, man. Like talking about Marshall. I'm not gonna do an end of review this time because I went over time and I had to get on schoolwork. So I'll stop at like 45 minutes, which would be probably like 9:18, 9:20-ish. Marshall University is not even a good college, per se. Like, the only reason I know about Marshall University? Like and subscribe. Do people know why I know about Marshall University? Not even trying to roast them. The only reason I know about Marshall University is because of Randy Moss. Randy Moss went to Marshall University. I thought he did. He didn't. He didn't. He went to another school. What college Randy Moss went to? Now I gotta look it up. Randy Moss went to... No, I think he did. Yeah, he did. He went to Marshall University. They said Florida State, but he went to Marshall. I remember him being at Marshall University. That's the only reason I know about Marshall University. I don't know them for nothing. Look, literally, Noble alumni, Brad D. Smith came up. Then, guess who came up? Other football players. Man, Marshall University is like, I will review them probably tomorrow, probably. But it's like, you go here. Not saying people ain't going here getting a good education, but it's Marshall University. Like, my 2 years better than them. Like, if you say you went to Marshall University, I'll just be like, bro, my 2 years better. My 2 years cheaper and it's better. Look at us. We're on the live screen right now on YouTube. Come on, man. We got 300 people in the chat right now. Come on, man. And we went to a 2 year. Come on, man. I'm just exaggerating. We don't got 300 people in here. But you get the gist of it. G said, I just remember it from the Civil War when West Virginia split from Virginia. G said, LOL, speak into existence. Come on, man. They ain't gonna start caring to higher education until these colleges, these universities gonna start switching accreditation, closing down on these students. Students gonna be like, I didn't see this coming. Families gonna be like, we didn't see this coming. This is not fair. We've been trying to tell y'all what's coming y'all way, man. We trying to tell y'all. You better start at a 2 year bridge to a 4 year. You better. And if you got the money, you good. You straight. But even having money these days can't get you into your dream school. which is another reason why you should come watch this channel to go to a 2-year bridge to that dream school 4-year. You know, you got to make sure you know your 4. You got to make sure your 4-year got an articulation agreement with your 2-year, because then you go put yourself in a jam. Like, you can't just go to a 2-year and say, "Oh, I'm going to my dream school 4-year." No, you can't do that. You might be stuck. Like, that 2-year might not have an articulation agreement with your dream school. So, like, I would call the dream school and be like, "Look, y'all got any articulation agreements with a 2-year?" And then they'll be like, "Yeah." And you'll be like, "Who the 2 years?" They'll be like, "Oh, I sent you an email." Then you like, "Oh, these are the 2 years." Or then they might have some other setup that's even better. I do see schools making strides. Like Emory. I do see more schools making strides. Then G said, how was school? G said, how has school and work been though? I know it got you backed up because you have been missing live streams. Or go to Ivy or Ivy League. Maybe even Columbia at the 2028 more than like school been good. I try to do live streams as I can. School work been smooth though. But school just been like right now I gotta read for school. And then I gotta turn in these proposals for class. And then that's really when it's gonna be hard to live stream a little bit because then I gotta write a 10 to 12 page paper and then a 2,500 word paper from one of my classes. But they're like, it's like at the same time, in a perfect world, if I ain't had discussions and these other readings, it would be easy cakewalk. But you got to balance doing the discussions and reading through other articles and, yeah, that's the wow. So you got a lot to do. Yeah, light work, stand up about 1 or 2 o'clock. Most of my work get done though, G. I get it done on weekends though. I get most of it done on weekends. The time I could be researching companies for investing or learning more about investing, I spend it in college. So net worth could have been a little better, but it's at a nice range. It's at a nice range though. That's how we still found Palantir reading when I wasn't doing schoolwork. Trying to find the next nice thing though. G, one day we'll talk about that. One day we'll talk about that stuff. G said, that's good. You're almost done at the very least. You'll never have to bring work home. Exactly. Won't never have to bring work home. All right. We hit our 47 minutes. Supposed to be 45. We'll probably. Tomorrow is a Tuesday, so we don't have a gym day. So tomorrow we will be on, and then tomorrow we will do a college review on Marshall University. Because I could be wrong. Marshall University could be a good school. Could. And let's see what G said before we go. Let me see. G said there are some up and coming companies. Can't wait until we can. LOL. See. Peace. Chicken grease. Yes, G. Because I want to hear your insights on these upcoming companies too. There are some upcoming companies for sure. Yes. All right. Peace. Chicken grease again. Shirt coming soon. That's all.